Russell Ghent, and I'm about to be interviewed by Bobby Fazio. Oil, that has been fantastic. We've had it on the dyno. It's 3 horsepower better in the RPM range that really matters.
All right, we're here in Bradenton, Florida. It's a 2024 Pro Superstar Shootout brought to you by Skag and Johnson's Horsepower Garage. And they were kind enough to invite stock and super stock cars here for a $30,000 winner-take-all competition. And right now I'm checking out the super stock ride of Russell Ghent, and we're gonna talk to him about this beautiful Camaro. Hi Russell, how you doing, buddy?
Everything's good. We're honored to be here, glad to make it. Almost did not make it. Long story short, we had our engine on the dyno over Christmas break, found out that we had a lifter failing on us. Actually, the axle and the roller broke. Thankfully, we didn't hurt much. We had 2 pistons that were dinged up a little bit. We got a hold of Rick Panton from CP and told him the situation, told him we were gonna be here, how important that was to us. And he said, absolutely no problem. They rushed us 2 pistons in absolutely record time. Got the engine back together, dynoed, and here we are on Friday, going into our 3rd round of qualifying.
That is awesome, great story, and very cool gesture there by CP Piston.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is a super stock J automatic.
J automatic, that's correct.
And this is a 1994 Camaro.
That is also correct, yes.
What's the engine combination in here?
So this is the Gen 2 LT 350 Chevy with air quotes 350. You know, of course, as far as the engine blueprint specs go, you know, we're allowed oversized bore up to 80 thousandths, I believe. Not something that we take full advantage of just because we prefer to save the blocks. Crankshaft, I think they allow 15 thousandths. We don't really go into much there, you know, just for the sake of having to order a custom crankshaft that costs a lot of money. Right. So of course the aluminum center bolt LT head is kind of the main piece of the engine. 175cc intake runner, 68cc exhaust, and a lot of work goes into these heads to get them to run the way they do. It is a ton of work, it's a lot of labor, a lot of expertise on my father's end for sure, and I'm here for the ride. I'm following along with them, so.
That's great, and I hope you're learning from them. Now in super stock here, you are allowed any intake manifold you want.
That is
You have
correct.
to run the factory throttle body.
Yep, so basically our setup is the front mount and then the Wilson elbow, Super Victor Edelbrock, you know.
What size throttle body is required?
It's 2 bores actually, it's inch 880 per bore. You know, you have to run the throttle body as is. You know, put the K&N air filter on it, of course, just, you know, keep the rocks and dirt out.
It's a good idea. Now the cylinder heads in super stock, these are the aluminum heads, you
Correct.
said.
Yes.
But you still have to remain with the factory valve sizes. What are they?
Exactly, inch 940 and then 1.5 inch exhaust, inch 940 intake, I mean. You know, really the biggest deal with these things is moving that area to get the ideal airflow through those ports. As far as everything else goes, I mean, Jessel front drive, Jessel shaft rockers, and now Jessel roller lifters, which is good to have those back.
So in super stock J automatic, what is the index and the horsepower rating for this combination and the minimum weight that you have to run?
So index for us is 11.0. This engine was factory rated at 275 horsepower, and it's NHRA rated at 279 horsepower. Minimum weight's 32.35.
What's the fastest you've gone with the car?
We've been into the 970s with this car.
Wow, what kind of mile per hour?
Give or take around 134, maybe a little more. As far as transmission goes, Turbo 350 built by ProTrans. Jack Sapanic actually does our maintenance, and he's done a trans for us as well. He's been awesome to work with. Hughes converter. It
looks like you choose to use the big stuff to control the EFI in this car. How's that program working for you?
It's been phenomenal. The Gen 4 big stuff has a lot of new technology implemented. 802 cylinder closed loop fuel correction, which has been an amazing feature for us. Having the accuracy of that fueling makes a huge difference in horsepower and consistency, and it's worked really well for us. As far as the back end of the car goes, strange 12 bolt.
12 bolt, not running the 9-inch, huh?
No, not the 9-inch. 12 bolt seems to be a little more preferred frictionally, and that's also what the car came with, so we just stuck with it. Actually just put in brand new strange axles.
What kind of a gear ratio do you run?
It's above a 5.0.
Okay. What kind of RPM do you turn with the car?
82, 8300. Typically launch with the small tire, I try not to go anything above 36, 3700. I know guys with big tires, they can leave a lot higher. I just haven't really tested the limits with these little 9-inch tires yet. This car is a super stocker that used to be a stocker, so it's kind of disguised. It was actually owned originally by Woodrow Josie, who was a really famous super stock racer in the Southeast.
I do like when the cars still have the 9-inch tire. It gives it that street feel.
Yeah,
kind of the
you don't see it
authentic.
a lot. You don't see it a lot in super stock, but again, that's just how the car came, and didn't really want to put tubs in it. I think with today's tire technology, I mean, I think you can get away with it with ease.
It's nice construction here, Russ.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you do this yourself?
Yes, sir. So it's all this whole setup back here with the weight boxes and the battery. That was all the battery boxes weren't fabricated by myself, but I did the framework, and then you know, the battery disconnect switch and all that mounting stuff. I mean, there's 1,000 little projects in this car. A lot of them you don't really see, but it's been a really great experience as far as fabricating goes for me.
I like the nice red paint too. Do you do that?
No, the car came red. It was actually metallic green originally, believe it or not. But I believe Woodrow had it painted red, and it was not repainted when we got it. I spent a lot of hours with the buffing wheel getting this car to look good.
You did a good job with it, I must say.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I have noticed this Klotz Synthetics decal on the side of your car, and as long as I've known the Klotz brand, it's really been dedicated to two-stroke engines. What's going on here?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Bobby. Klotz as a company has been around for over 60 years. Most of their product has been associated with the two-cycle engines, power sports, go-kart racing. As of recent, the company has actually gone through a change of hands. A gentleman by the name of Bob Gorman has purchased the company from John Klotz. And a little bit of backstory on those two. John Klotz and Bob Gorman have been friends for decades and decades throughout the go-kart racing world. And Bob Gorman, being the owner and founder of Kinetic Gasket, which is mostly known for their multi-layer steel head gasket, has taken a hold of the company and has worked towards preserving John Klotz's legacy and continuing that for many, many years to come.
Now, I understand that your family has been in development with the Klotz lubricants to come up with a nice blend here for class racing.
Yes, that's correct. So my relationship with Bob Gorman has gone back many years, but with my father as well, who has known Bob Gorman since the heydays of NASCAR and developing the head gaskets originally. To get into the oil, Bob has wanted to transition more into the automotive racing side of things. He asked us to try some of their product, got us in touch with a gentleman named Chris Milletti, who is extremely knowledgeable about everything Klotz, everything oil. And originally, some of the product wasn't really catered towards what we're doing. Their automotive racing oil was mainly catered towards circle track, dirt car, engines that have to get very hot in order to perform. And as we know, class racing and drag racing in general, these cars really don't see a lot of engine temp. Our conversation with Chris Milletti was trying to figure out what we could do to develop an oil that was low viscosity and performed at very low engine temperatures. Chris took that information, they blended an oil completely in-house, got us a 0.16 viscosity oil that has been absolutely over-engineered. It's performed fantastic. We've had it on the dyno. It's been about 3 horsepower better in the RPM range that really matters. Also had this engine apart multiple times since we've been using this oil. I can tell you that we have literally put the bearings back in the engine every single time. Rod and main bearings look absolutely phenomenal. So far, it's been an absolutely great experience working with those guys, and we're happy to do it for them. We're happy to also campaign a product that is specifically for the stock and super stock racer. When we came up with this proposition for them, they were very excited about what we wanted to do. You know, try to take their company into an avenue that not a lot of people want to go into, and class racers are going to be very excited about this product.
Now, as far as I know, when the pandemic hit, a lot of oil companies were forced to change their blend, we'll say.
Absolutely.
Klotz didn't do that. Can
That's
you explain
correct.
on that a little?
Yeah, Klotz was one of the only companies that did not cut their additive pack to meet the cost requirements to sell their oil. As we know, with everything that went on in this country, it was really not just oil, but a ton of companies were lacking quality over their ability to sell items, and Klotz was not one of those companies. They were not going to lay down and sacrifice the quality of their product to sell it.
That's really cool. That's awesome to know. So Russell, you're a young guy playing in this Superstock game here, which is made up of, you know, a lot
Mostly
of ladies and gentlemen that are a little bit older.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, so I'm 22 years old. Currently in life right now, I'm a community college student. I actually go to a community college in Statesville, North Carolina called Mitchell. They have a machine shop program where I've learned to program and operate CNC machines. And at home, I work in our engine shop with my father, XRE Performance Engines. And recently, we purchased a Centroid 5-axis machine to port cylinder heads, and that's been an awesome avenue for our business. Huge learning curve, but it's been awesome to learn that and use that kind of technology. And it also applies directly to our racing program. Right now, I've digitized the heads that came off of this engine. I've CNC ported blank factory GM LT1 castings, so it's been awesome.
All right, so you mean you didn't want to get a psychology degree and get stuck in a cubicle?
No,
for
that's not really my thing, Bobby. Not quite. I like turning wrenches, and I've never actually drag raced before. This is the first car I ever made a pass down the drag strip in, and it was a wild experience. It's been almost 3 years. It's just been a really awesome thing to do with my father. I've enjoyed every single minute of it.
Well, we hope that you and your father can do this for many, many years to come. We thank you for spending some time with us. Before we let you go, though, we want to hear how you've been doing in qualifying thus far and how you're enjoying the race.
Yeah, so like I said, it's absolutely an honor to be here. So to get an invite to this deal has been amazing. I'm kind of playing the wild card factor because, you know, I am fairly new to this. We've had really good days where I've hurt some feelings, and if we can do that this weekend, that would be the goal. Right now we're number 3 qualifier behind Lincoln Moorhead and Huntsbury. So obviously they're also very fast Gen 3 Camaros running in J as well. So we're excited to get after it.
How were your reaction times and elapsed times?
Reaction times were good. First qualifier I was 35. Second qualifier at night I thought I was going to be red because I don't do a lot of night racing. Thankfully I was 13 on the tree. And so that was a good feeling, gives me a little more confidence going into qualifier 3 and then round 1 tonight.
All right, so you will be ready. It will be nighttime racing tonight.
It's going to be. So having that pass last night was good data to have. You know, get the reaction time. As far as ET goes, we were running 970s last night. So
excellent.
Good performance in this Florida air, baby.
Very good. All right. Good luck to you, Russ, and your father, Tom. We look forward to seeing you guys out there. Have a good weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bobby, so much.